at disiplinahin yung mga mapapatunayang sa paraan ng overpricing ng mga COVID-19 health supplies.
I agree with that na kailangan imbestigahan kasi unfair to the president, no? Purkit Duterte administration, lahat na ng kasamahan, pati si Duterte, masama. Itong sinusulong kong death penalty para po sa mga gumagawa ng droga, manufacturers, and drug traffickers.
So ika nga, iligtas ang buhay, iligtas ang trabaho, at huwag dagdagan ng usapang patayan. We cannot heal as one pag may napag-iiwanan. We cannot heal as one pag may makakalimutan. At higit sa lahat, we cannot heal as one pag may ilang gahaman. Dahil sa pagkahaba-haba ng sona ng ating Pangulo, hindi ko nakuha ang sagot sa pinakamahalagang tanong. Paano matutulungan ang ordinaryong Pilipinong hirap na dahil sa pandemyang ito? How do we support the least and the last among us? How do we ensure that the near poor do not fall into the cracks and join the ranks of the poor? Instead of a clear plan on how this country can move forward amidst this unprecedented health crisis, what we heard was a diatribe against the oligarchy, a swipe against the minority leader, a sidebar story on how he begged for vaccines from China, a long account of the war on drugs and why it is, and a call to reinstitute the death penalty. Let's begin with health. DOH spokesperson Dr. Rosemary Vergeres said that she hoped the president would lay out plans to address COVID-19. Mga kailangan pa natin gawin. Pero ano ang nadinig natin sa Pangulo? Gamitin ang gasoline pang disinfect ng mask. Sa aking mga pag-uusap with experts in the field of public health and epidemiology, I've crafted my own roadmap, a set of propositions that I offer for deliberation and consideration, as well as to guide me in my legislative work. 6 po na punto ang mahahalaga at iisa-isahin ko. 1. Preventive and preemptive response. Sakop dito ang kahandaan ng mga epidemiological sa mga LGU. Ang full implementation ng RA 11332 o yung Mandatory Notification of Notifiable Diseases Act. Lalo na hinggil sa operationalization ng mga Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit o ESU. At ang pag-roll out ng collaborative preparedness and mitigation plans at all levels of government, especially in areas with no demonstrated capacity to respond to COVID-19. 2. Flattening the curve. We need mass testing without sacrificing the quality of the tests. Ang ibig sabihin ng mass testing ay acquisition, distribution, and utilization of available and acceptable testing kits to improve screening, detection, assessment, and management of presumptive COVID-19 cases, including the tapping of production capacities of local biotechnology and pharmaceutical companies. To complement detection, mas mabilis na contact tracing din ang kailangan, lalo na sa high-risk and densely populated communities and industries. 3. Raising the line. We have to strengthen the capacity of our health systems and infrastructure, kasama ang pag-designate ng mga dedicated COVID-19 hospitals for the critically ill, activating the One Hospital Command Center for better coordination among health facilities, incentivizing private sector participation in providing healthcare infrastructure. We also have to complement dedicated COVID-19 hospitals with alternate points of care by equipping quarantine mega centers so they can become mega treatment centers, expanding service contracting of hotels as isolation and quarantine centers, at siyempre, kasama ang investment in community-based health responders. We need to ensure that minimum health capacity are also present at regional and provincial levels to anticipate the possible surge of cases in those areas. Pinakamahalaga, we need to protect our healthcare workers. Sila ang ating unang sandata ngayon. 4, protecting the vulnerable. We should ensure special protections for vulnerable populations, such as the elderly, effective cash transfer programs to help the poor with basic provisions so they can avoid perilous activities, COVID testing and risk allowances for workers based on proximity to COVID risk. 5. Leveraging UHC for COVID response. The pandemic is the litmus test for the UHC law. Thus, we need to use mechanisms within the UHC law as part of the COVID-19 strategy, such as fast-tracking the process for the registration and designation of licensed primary care providers for every Filipino, and constituting the Health Promotion Board to carry out a health promotion strategy against COVID. And 6th, holding national and local leaders and health authorities accountable. There are no sacred cows. Now more than ever, kailangan nating tiyakin na ang liderato ng DOH, na ang mga LGU ay tapat sa kanilang tungkulin bilang mga lingkod bayan. Spending has to be tracked, and participatory mechanisms such as the Citizens Budget Tracker should be harnessed. Sabi nga ng World Bank, panahon ng pandemya, mas madaling mangurakot ng pera. Kung may ebidensya ng overpricing, kung may ebidensya ng pagsasamantala, kailangang papanagutin. Likewise, incompetence should not be tolerated. The people need confidence in their leaders to shepherd them through uncertain times. They don't need a PhilHealth scandal. They don't need inept DOH leadership. They don't need the highest officials of the land claiming to be inutil in the middle of a pandemic. Dako naman po tayo sa ekonomiya. Gaya ng usapin ng kalusugan, wala din tayong bagong nadinig mula sa Pangulo kung paano iibsan ang krisis pang-ekonomiyang bunsod ng COVID. Imbes na problemahin ang nangangalam na sikmura ng mga kababayan nating nawala ng trabaho, tinawag ang mga mahihirap na pasaway. Imbes na tulungan ang mga maliliit na negosyante or micro and small entrepreneurs, papatawan pa daw ng tax ang online sellers. We need a plan. And I have a 4-point plan for the economy that I fully intend to translate or have translated into legislative action. 1. Workplace safety o balik trabahong ligtas. The workers should be front and center of the effort to revive the economy. Buhay nila ang nakataya, so their voices need to be heard and represented when decisions affecting them are made. Anuman ang makabubuti sa lagay ng mga manggagawa ay makabubuti sa ekonomiya. To this end, I've filed a Balik Trabahong Ligtas bill to reduce the financial risk for workers who must be hospitalized or must go on quarantine. We also need to encourage work-from-home arrangements. And we do this by improving our connectivity. Expanding the scope for working from home might be one of the most critical, yet also practical ways of controlling infection even as the economy opens. Telemedicine should also be supported. Ako po'y naghahanda ng panukala para maging mas accessible ang telemedicine sa lahat. 2. Disaster relief and social amelioration. Masakit man sa bulsa, social amelioration is an important part of disaster relief and an essential component of reviving the economy. According to computations of economists, the IATF owes 21.8 billion pesos in social amelioration funds to around 1.35 million households in NCR, Region 3, and Region 4A. Around 75% of Filipinos should be receiving the SAP, but in these areas hardest hit by the pandemic, only around 50% have received the cash transfer. Batay din sa mga report namin, among those who did not receive social amelioration funds are self-employed solo parents who were turned away by DSWD and would also not qualify in the DOF's so-called wage subsidy program. A second highly visible segment of workers ignored by government are the drivers of 60,000 traditional jeepneys, although a commitment has been made to prioritize them in a 5 billion augmentation of the SAP funds. Pero hindi lang kawalan ng hanap buhay ang problema. Ang mga empleyado na nawalan ng trabaho ay hindi na nakapagbabayad ng premium contributions sa SSS at PhilHealth. This will disqualify them from access to member benefits, including hospitalization financing. Kaya ang aking panukala sa budget season, tiyakin na may pansalo ang pamahalaan sa milyon-milyong nawalan ng trabaho. Kasama na ang 11,000 ng ABS-CBN who will be needing PhilHealth subsidy now more than ever. 3. Economic repair. The immediate necessity is at the moment to address this pandemic-fueled economic hemorrhage by trying to save pre-COVID jobs in firms badly damaged by the lockdown and to provide immediate assistance to micro and small enterprises. I'm in the process of consulting with those micro and small enterprises to get a better sense of their needs during these critical times. Sa aking mga pag-uusap sa ilan sa kanila, ang malinaw na lumalabas ay hindi dapat sa maliliit at naghihikos na negosyante nanggagaling ang pondo na kailangan ng gobyerno para makabangon sa krisis na ito. New taxes should not be levied on online sellers. We need to provide financing to help micro-enterprises keep the lights on and not bog them down with bureaucratic registration requirements. 4. Economic recovery. Wala pa tayo sa labas ng madilim na tunnel, pero kailangan na natin pag-isipan ang pagbangon. The President's plan is hinged on a vaccine. But even if a vaccine comes, the economic rubble that the virus has left in its wake needs a clear action plan. New drivers of growth can be in the areas of ICT and digital transformation for education, working at home, telemedicines, logistics, and public services, agriculture and food manufacturing, health, urban-rural transport networks to generate the interest of investors anxious to pivot towards opportunities outside Metro Manila. The decentralization project should create the conditions, not just the infrastructure, that will entice entrepreneurs and owners of capital to expand operations outside of the cities so that rural supplies can match urban demand. Mr. President, this roadmap is not mine alone. It's the product of consultations, not only of technocrats and experts, but of people on the ground. People who tell us stories of their hardships. People who've lost jobs, homes, and loved ones in this pandemic. Batay po sa roadmap na ito, naisa pa ko na ang mga sumusunod na panukalang batas. Senate Bill 1436 o Mandatory Protection of Health Workers, Frontliners and Patients Act na naglalayong proteksyonan laban sa diskriminasyon ang mga nasa front and center ng pandemyang ito. SBN 1441 o ang Balik Trabahong Ligtas Act na tinataguyod ang safety at work para sa mga empleyadong nangangailangang lumabas ng bahay. Naghahain din ako ng resolution, Senate Resolution 370, na nananawagan para automatic na kasama sa SAP ang mga senior citizens at panukalang batas na bigyan ng Universal Disability Health Grant ang lahat ng PWDs o Senate Bill 1681. I also intend to file within the next month the following bills: granting additional financial support for barangay health workers during this pandemic, pambili ng mga PPE, pang COVID test, at pandagdag ng hazard allowance. Providing special economic subsidy for COVID-positive patients and their families to offset the loss of livelihood while under quarantine. Providing economic support for cooperatives. Addressing the gender-specific impacts of COVID, particularly on women, girls, and members of the LGBTQI community. And lastly, crafting a comprehensive package of measures for the support and protection of micro and small enterprises. Ngunit hindi po natin maibabangon ang ating sarili mula sa kinasasadlakan natin kung hindi natin papanagutin ang mga nakinabang at nagsamantala sa krisis na ito. Ako po'y nakikiisa sa aking mga kasamang senador sa pag-imbestiga sa matinding alegasyon ng corruption. At ako din ay naghain ng resolusyon para hilingin sa COA sa lalong madaling panahon ang pag-audit ng lahat ng COVID spending, borrowings at donation bago tayo magsimula ng budget deliberations. We need solutions that target the needs of the least and the last of us. We need a lockdown that is not a solution on its own, but an opportunity to give our healthcare system a chance to recover. Kasama dapat sa pagbabalik ng MECQ ang mas agresibong testing at contact tracing, pagpapalakas ng community-based care at hospital capacity and efficiency, ayuda para sa vulnerable at kaligtasan sa transportasyon at trabaho. Hindi na bago ang mga panawagang ito. These were our calls since day one of the lockdown, and there's no way around it. No lockdowns can work if we do not present, adopt, and implement a clearer health strategy. One that is not guilty of the criminal negligence of merely relying on the arrival of a vaccine. Malinaw na pumalpak ang gobyerno sa nakaraang lockdown. Huwag nating hayaan masayang ulit ang 2 linggong pagbalik MECQ. Kaya ng Pilipino magtiis. Dapat kaya ng pamahalaan mamahala. Utang natin kay Chris, kay Arnold, kay Joan, at kay Mark. Ang isang magaling, masinop, at mapagkalingang gobyerno sa lahat ng pagkakataon. Marami pong salamat, Mr. President at mga kasama.
Mr. President, sabi ni Senator Risa Hontiveros, and I quote, "We cannot heal as one dahil sa mga gahaman," end of quote. Mr. President, totoo po yan. We cannot heal as one if we are greedy. We cannot heal as one if we are corrupt. We cannot heal as one if we are divided. Because I always believe, Mr. President, we cannot heal as one if we have jealousy and envy. And I always believe, Mr. President, that when we have unity, there is victory. Totoo, tama yan. Nais ko lang tanungin ang ating kagalang-galang na colleague kung ito bang mga drug lords o drug traffickers, hindi ba natin sila susuppuin sa panahon ng pandemya na to dahil pandemic? I understand of your concern na kailangan natin tulungan, suportahan at pakainin sa abot ng ating makakaya, no, ang lahat ng mga naghihirap na tao, dahil ramdam ko yung kahirapan ng tao ngayon, ramdam ko yung gutom kasi diyan ako galing. Pero we have to understand na because of this pandemic, some people are taking advantage. Sinasamantala nila itong pagkakataon para sila magmamayagpag at magawa yung mga plano nila, especially for these illegal drugs. So siguro, ang tanong ko, Mr. President, is sa tingin niyo po, hihinto na ang mga gahaman na drug manufacturers, drug traffickers, at drug lords sa kanilang drug business dahil sa pandemya na ito? Gusto ko lang pong malaman.
2 punto, Mr. President. Una, nakikiisa ako dun sa sinabi ng good gentleman from Sarangani na kailangan ng pagkakaisa para sama-sama nating sugpuin yung banta sa ating kalusugan at ngayon sa ating ekonomiya nitong pandemyang COVID-19. At para mabuo yung totoong pagkakaisang yon, ay kailangan merong ding pagtanaw sa pagkukulang, sa pagkakamali, At definitely, kailangan tukuyin kung meron ba talagang mga nagsamantala at kumikita sa pagdurusa ng ating mga kababayan sa gitna ng pandemyang ito. Yung issue natin sa problematic drug use ay nag-antedate pa sa pandemyang ito. At kahit tumaragasa ang COVID-19, hindi nababago yung dalawang pangunahing tugon dapat para maresolba natin yung problema nating iyon. Unang-una na, yung isang public health approach tungkol sa problematic drug use. At pangalawa, yung moderno at rules-based na law enforcement. So may COVID man o wala, yan ang dalawang mabibisang tugon ng ating gobyerno at ang ating lipunan para masagot natin yung problema natin sa problematic drug use. At may COVID man o wala, walang pagsasamantala, walang pagkita, at walang pagpapatuloy na mga kriminal na gawain kasama na yung sa mga drug lords ay dapat hayaang manatili o magpatuloy. Hindi dapat gamiting dahilan ang COVID-19 para sa anumang krimen o pagsasamantala sa mga mamamayan.
So, therefore, Mr. President, you agree that we should take action sa mga drug traffickers na gumagalaw ngayong panahon ng pandemya. Tama po ba?
Tama na kahit sinong gumagawa ng mga criminal activity, may COVID-19 pandemic man o wala. At kasabay ng patuloy na pagtugis sa mga drug lords ay dapat ding imbestigahan, ibunyag at disiplinahin yung mga mapapatunayang sa paraan ng overpricing ng mga COVID-19 health supplies at iba pang pamamaraan ay kumita pa sa gitna ng pagdurusa ng mga Pilipino.
Tama po yan, Mr. President. I agree with that. Na kailangan imbestigahan kasi unfair to the President might not know that situation kung ano yung mga pangyayari, what's happening in the ground right now, especially lahat ng mga ginagawa ng mga tauhan niya. So kailangan siguro nating imbestigahan. Pero hindi siguro natin kailangan na i-blame lahat sa ating Pangulo, kundi aksyonan, ipaalam natin sa Pangulo dahil alam ko, Mr. President, kilala ko ang ating mahal na Pangulo. Ako na mismo magsabi sa inyo, kilala ko ang ating mahal na Pangulo. Mula pa noon bago siya naging presidente. Hindi niya tolerate yung mga ganyang mga gawain. Yung corrupt, alam nyo, kasing level lang ng droga yan. Yung mga corrupt. Yung mga pagnanakaw, kasing level lang ng droga yan. So hindi niya hayaan na may mangyaring ganun. Kung may mga malalaman tayo, kailangan natin i-report natin sa kanya at makita ninyo kung paano mag-action ng ating Pangulo. Alam natin. So ang nais ko lang sabihin dito, Mr. President, na for how many decades ganito ang sitwasyon ng bansa natin, ganito ang ating reaction in times of pandemya o any investigation o problems sa bansa natin. Siguro we have to change our perspective in life na kailangan natin isang bansa tayo, magtulungan tayo at magkaisa tayo. Kung may mga tiwaling mga official, ibulgar natin, but hindi naman siguro lahat. Unfair naman kung grupo, hindi naman siguro sa isang bulig ng banana, lahat sira. May mga talaga isang bulig ng banana, may ilan lang yung sira, pero may mga magaganda ding nahihinog dyan. So hindi lahat ng isang bunga ng bulig ng banana sira lahat ng saging, kundi may mga rin talaga mga nasisirang bunga. So yun po yung sinasabi ko na hindi lahat ng porket Duterte administration lahat na ng kasamahan pati si Duterte masama. Not like that siguro, Mr. President, because unfair to those people who are working hard to help this problem and working hard to help those people in needs in fulfilling their duties as a secretary or as a cabinet secretary or whatever their positions is. siguro Mr. President, kailangan din nating huwag nating lahatin. No, kaya nga tayo mag-imbestiga tayo kung sino yung tao na kawatan, kung sino yung tao na magnanakaw, at sino taong abusado, imbestigahan natin. Huwag nating palampasin yan. Magsama-sama tayo. Isang bansa lang tayo, isang bahay tayo. We should need work together for our good and for our brighter future to our country. Yun lang po ang Mr. President ang concern ko. And Mr. President, we just want to clarify this. For the record, I am pushing for the death penalty for high-level drug traffickers. Trafficking because our people are being taking advantage even in this pandemic. Mr. President, I just want to clarify kasi naawa ako sa mga mahirap na tao. Sila ang namamatay, sila ang nagbubuhis ng buhay, sila ang nasa peligro. Pero yung mga drug traffickers, manufacturers, sila po ang malaya, ligtas at yumayaman. Ang mga mahirap, sila ang naghirap, sila ang namamatay. So dapat itong sinusulong kong death penalty para po sa mga gumagawa ng droga, manufacturers and drug traffickers. Yun po ang ilinawin ko lang. Hindi ito para sa mga mahirap, sa mga gumagamit, kundi doon sa mga nag-manufacture.
Nakakaawa po talaga ang mga mahihirap. In fact, sa tens of thousands na napatay na hanggang sa ngayon sa war on drugs, karamihan kung hindi halos lahat ay mga mahihirap. Kaya po lalo pong tumitibay yung paninindigan ko na sa halip na isulong ang death penalty na on record din sa dokumentasyon, ang dami pong na-meet out na death penalty sentences na upon review, may period po na 70% o 80% ay na-overturn dahil sa miscarriage di umano of justice. So sa halip na yan ang talakayin, kaya po ito pong mga pwede nating pagkaisahan na mga health roadmap at economic roadmap para first things first, makaraos tayo dito sa pandemyang ito. Ika nga,
Alright.
iligtas ang buhay, iligtas ang trabaho, at huwag dagdagan ang usapang patayan.